8 hidden signs she's crazy about you. Number 2 is shocking. Old Stoic Wisdom. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller. Most men go through life believing that if a woman is truly interested, she'll just come out and say it. Loud, clear, no confusion. But real attraction. It's rarely that obvious. It doesn't shout, it whispers. While you're scanning for flirtatious remarks or dramatic gestures, she may be speaking in a much older language, one made of glances, gestures, subtle shifts, the brush of her hand as she passes, the way her body turns slightly toward you when you speak, the spark in her eyes when you laugh. Even if the joke wasn't that great, these are not coincidences. These are signals. And the truth is, many men never learn how to recognize them. There could already be someone in your orbit who's quietly drawn to you, a woman at your workplace who lights up when you enter the room, a friend who lingers longer than necessary in conversation, a stranger at the cafe who seems to always run into you, not because she's clumsy or overly polite, but because she's trying to be seen by you. But here's the catch. If you've never been taught to notice these signs, you'll walk right past them, not because you lack the instinct, but because no one ever explained how subtle desire can be, especially from a woman who values her self-respect. At Stoicismwin, we don't deal in fantasy or gimmicks. We teach grounded men how to see the world more clearly by combining ancient Stoic principles with modern behavioral psychology. Why Stoicism? Because the Stoic man doesn't chase, he observes. He doesn't overreact, he reflects. He doesn't need validation, he reads the room with calm confidence. And when it comes to relationships, this mindset is a quiet superpower. After years of studying real-world behavior, we've distilled 8 under-the-radar signs that a woman is truly interested. These are not the things you'll hear in pickup artist circles. They're not based on tricks or shallow formulas. They're based on how genuine emotional connection works, through body language, tone, timing, and a kind of feminine intuition that reveals far more than words ever could. This list might challenge what you think you know. It might even change how you see certain women in your life. That old friend who always checks in, the neighbour who finds reasons to talk, the woman who laughed a little too hard at your dry humour. None of this is guaranteed romance, but it's often the beginning of something real, if you know what to look for. So, are you ready to decode the quiet truth most men miss? Let's dive into these 8 signs, starting with one that's so subtle you've probably experienced it more than once, and brushed it off every time. Sign number 1. The eyes that linger. They say a woman's eyes can speak the truth long before her lips do. And if you're a man in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, with the scars and stories that come from living, working, loving, and maybe even losing, you already know that the bolder signs of real desire are rarely loud. They're not always dressed in dramatic declarations or flirty performances, but often hidden in the soft, slow seconds where her eyes meet yours and refuse to let go. When her gaze lingers, even if only for a breath longer than it should, there's something powerful happening beneath the surface. You may be talking about your day, a memory from your youth, or something completely ordinary. And yet, in the middle of that conversation, you catch her watching you. Not just seeing you, but watching you, as though she's searching for something deeper. It's not just attraction. It's reverence. It's the way a woman looks when she feels safe enough to reveal that she's genuinely interested. Not because she has to be, but because your presence matters to her more than you realize. That kind of look is a slow burn, not a spark, and if you're not paying close attention, you'll miss it. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." And when a woman's eyes linger, she's quietly telling you that in her thoughts, you've already taken up residence. That fleeting moment of eye contact is not random. It's a signal, like a soft drumbeat in the distance, calling you to notice, to awaken, to remember that real intimacy doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just stares. Now let's be honest, for many men, especially those who've been through marriages, breakups, or long years of solitude, the idea that a woman might still look at you with that kind of admiration can seem unlikely, even foreign. You may ask yourself, why me? Or dismiss it as coincidence. But as Epictetus wisely observed, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And your reaction, your awareness of this subtle yet profound moment, determines whether you ignore a potential connection or embrace it. Women, especially mature women who have experienced life themselves, often express their feelings not with grand gestures, but through consistency, attentiveness, and presence. If she keeps her eyes on you when you speak, even when you're not trying to be impressive, when you're just being your authentic self, that's not boredom, that's not politeness, that's interest, deep, steady interest. It's her way of signaling that she sees something in you that's worth pausing for. It may be your confidence, your kindness, your grit, or the way you carry the weight of your experiences with quiet dignity. But whatever it is, she's not looking away, and there's a kind of sacredness in that gaze. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The eyes of men converse as much as their tongues," and in this case, when her eyes speak, they're saying, "I see you, I admire you, I want to understand you. Let's take this further, not just romantically, but spiritually and psychologically." A woman who is crazy about you, in the most beautiful and sincere sense, will often struggle to fully hide it. Her body language may be controlled, her words may be guarded, but the eyes, those are the traitors of true emotion. They betray what the heart feels, but the mouth is too cautious to admit. Have you ever noticed her glance at you when she thinks you're not looking? Have you ever caught her staring and then quickly looking away, slightly embarrassed but smiling to herself? That's not imagination, that's instinct. It's in those micro moments, the shy smiles, the softened gaze, the subtle pupil dilation, that the truth of her feelings reveal themselves. Real love doesn't explode onto the scene, it tiptoes in, and the eyes are the first to open the door. And yet so many men miss this, dismissing it as nothing more than a trick of timing or polite attention. But make no mistake, gentlemen, a woman who holds your gaze longer than necessary is giving you a gift, an invitation. She's telling you, "I'm paying attention. You matter to me." And if you fail to notice or respond with awareness, you may unknowingly close a door that was opening just for you. It's important to understand that not every lingering look is about physical desire. It goes deeper than that. Sometimes it's about emotional connection, admiration, curiosity, even longing. She may not even understand her feelings completely yet, but her eyes are acting before her words can catch up. That's why it's so important, especially as a seasoned man who has lived and learned, to be emotionally present and receptive to these signs. It's not about being suave or playing games. It's about being awake enough to say, "I see what you're trying to say," without saying it. This isn't the stuff of boyish fantasy, it's human truth. It's a connection on a level most people are too distracted to recognize. But you who've lived, who've loved, who've lost, who've learned, you can recognize the rare and the real. And in that moment, you have a choice. Ignore it, or lean into it with grace, courage, and curiosity. So the next time you catch a woman's eyes lingering on yours, don't look away too quickly. Look back. Smile softly. Stay present. Let the silence speak for a moment. Let her know, without words, that you felt it too. Because sometimes the most powerful conversations happen without a single sentence. And in this world of noise, distraction, and superficiality, that kind of quiet, eye-to-eye connection is not just rare, it's sacred. Now, I want to turn this over to you. Have you ever experienced this? A moment where her eyes held yours just a second too long, just enough to make you wonder? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Whether it led to something unforgettable or simply left you curious, your experience might be the exact insight another man needs to recognize what he's been overlooking, because in the end, the eyes never lie, and those that linger may be holding the truth your heart's been waiting for. Comment below to lock it in. I am awake and aware. Sign number 2, the silent prioritization. There's a kind of love that doesn't always shout from the rooftops. It doesn't need to. It doesn't parade itself on social media with endless selfies or heart emojis. It's quiet, consistent, and more powerful than words. This is what I call the silent prioritization. And if you pay close attention, it's one of the clearest signs that she's genuinely crazy about you. You see, in a world full of noise, the real signal is often found in the silence, the little choices she makes when nobody's watching. It might not be obvious at first glance, but when a woman truly values you, you begin to notice that you're subtly moving to the top of her priority list. Not by what she says, but by what she rearranges in her life to make room for you. Her schedule bends, her plans shift, and in a society that glorifies individual independence and hustle, that kind of quiet flexibility is no small thing. It's almost like a secret sacrifice, a delicate dance she performs without ever needing applause. She might skip a night out with her friends because you've had a long day. She'll remember your favourite meal and surprise you with it, not for validation, but because your comfort is her quiet mission. She'll stay up late just to hear about your day, even if she's had an exhausting one herself. This isn't about codependency or losing herself in a relationship. It's about a deep emotional investment, one that expresses itself through small, consistent, meaningful acts that say, "You matter more than my momentary convenience." Most men overlook this because they're trained to look for bold gestures or dramatic confessions. But the Stoics remind us that truth often lives in subtlety. As Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That's exactly what she's doing. She's not announcing her love with grand speeches, she's embodying it through her behaviour. And in today's world, where instant gratification and performative love dominate the dating landscape, that kind of behaviour is rare. So rare, in fact, that it might even feel shocking to men who've grown used to women playing games, keeping score, or communicating through passive-aggressive silence. But this kind of woman, she plays the long game. She doesn't need drama, she needs depth. And the way she shows it is by choosing you over and over again in ways that are quiet but undeniable. Now here's the part that requires some self-awareness. You might not even notice it unless you slow down. You've got to be present, tuned in, willing to see beyond surface-level interaction. We live in a time where everyone is distracted. Emails, deadlines, phones buzzing with notifications. And yet, when she's with you, you'll feel like she's nowhere else. That presence, that attentiveness, that choosing to be where her heart is, that is silent prioritization. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And it whispers with the kind of strength that outlasts fleeting passion. You might catch her defending your name when you're not in the room, standing up for you in quiet circles, or protecting your reputation as fiercely as she protects her own. You might see her adjusting her long-term goals so they harmonize with yours, not surrendering her vision, but integrating you into it. That's not just affection. That's alliance. That's the foundation of real partnership. And it's something you'll only catch if you've matured enough to see love not as a chase, but as a choice, one that's made daily and often without words. So if you're wondering whether she's truly into you, don't just listen to what she says when she's romantic. Watch what she does when life gets complicated. Does she still make time for you when she's overwhelmed? Does she quietly factor your feelings into her decisions, even when she doesn't say it out loud? That's when you know. She's not just interested, she's invested. And that kind of investment is rarer than gold in today's world of temporary thrills and fast exits. Let this be a reminder for every man listening, especially those over 35 who have seen the ups and downs of relationships and maybe even bear some emotional scars. Don't confuse silence with indifference. Sometimes, silence is love's most fluent language, And if you're lucky enough to find a woman who silently prioritizes you, not out of duty, but out of deep desire, cherish her. Because in a world that constantly pulls us in 1,000 directions, someone who chooses you every single time is someone worth choosing right back. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and don't let subtle love slip by just because it doesn't come wrapped in fireworks. After all, the Stoics knew something we often forget. True strength doesn't boast. It simply is. Sign number 3, the protective instinct. Let me give it to you straight. If you're a man over 35, you've lived enough to know this truth. Words lie, actions whisper the truth. Real attraction, real love, real obsession doesn't come wrapped in pretty sentences. It comes cloaked in behaviour. You're not here for cliches or fluff. You're here to understand something deeper. You want to know when a woman's feelings go beyond surface-level attraction, beyond physical chemistry, beyond casual flirtation. You want to know when she's invested in you, committed to you, obsessed with you. And here's one of the clearest, most overlooked signs, her protective instinct. Let me ask you, has she ever worried about your health more than you do? Told you to slow down on the caffeine, reminded you to sleep, nudged you to call your doctor? Has she ever looked more stressed than you when you're under pressure, like your stress becomes hers? That's not nagging. That's not controlling. That's instinctual protection, and it's powerful. When a woman truly loves a man, her biological wiring shifts. She starts to guard him, not because he's weak, but because he's valuable, because he matters, because to her, you are no longer just a man. You are a priority, a mission, a sacred emotional investment. And here's what most men miss. This instinct often shows up not with sweetness, but with fire. She may argue with you to slow down. She may confront you about your friends. She might seem difficult when you push yourself too hard. That's not drama, it's devotion. It's her soul screaming, "Don't you dare destroy the man I care about." If you don't recognize it, if you interpret it as her being too much, you might reject the one woman who would stand between you and the world, even if it meant putting herself at risk. This kind of protection isn't romantic fantasy, it's the real thing. And it's rare. As Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." That friction you feel from her isn't resistance. It's refinement. It's her way of sharpening you, guarding you from collapse, helping you stay the course. In a world where most people let you fall to your own devices, a woman who steps in front of the fire with you, for you, is not a burden. She's your silent guardian, your emotional shield. And this instinct, this behaviour, is one of the most honest reflections of real feminine love. Now, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're working late. Again. She texts you, not with emojis or cute nonsense, but you need to rest. You haven't eaten. You're pushing too hard again. You roll your eyes. I'm fine, you think. But pause. Who else in your life notices this? Who else cares enough to confront you? She does. And why? Because her heart has placed you in a position of emotional significance. She sees your value more clearly than you do in that moment. That, my friend, is power. That's not weakness. That's love laced with courage. You need to wake up and see the signs before you push them away and lose the one person who would have gone to war for your peace. Listen closely. In modern life, men have been taught to suppress emotion, to distrust affection, to equate independence with solitude. But that's not strength. That's slow self-destruction. A real man leads, yes, but a wise man also allows himself to be cared for. And when a woman chooses to protect you, not out of fear, but out of reverence for your potential, you'd better recognize it and honor it, because if you don't, another man will. That's the FOMO you should be afraid of. Not fear of missing out on pleasure, but fear of missing out on a deep soul-level partnership that only happens once, maybe twice, in a lifetime. You see, real love isn't loud. It doesn't post on social media. It doesn't always come in kisses and candlelight. Sometimes it comes as a frown, a warning, a heated plea. Please take care of yourself. That is the protective instinct at work, and only a man with emotional maturity and masculine clarity will recognize it for what it is, a hidden treasure. Marcus Aurelius said it best. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. But I'll add this. It's also a privilege to be loved, especially when that love shows up in such a raw, primal, protective way. So here's what you need to do. Scan your life. Is there a woman in your life right now who looks out for you, who challenges you, who frustrates you because she wants to see you strong? If so, she's not crazy. She's crazy about you. And if you have the wisdom to see it, the heart to appreciate it, and the strength to step up and lead in that relationship, you'll unlock a level of partnership that most men never touch. If this resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below. I see her protective instinct, and own that awareness like a badge of honor. Hit the like button if you've ever experienced a woman loving you this way. Share this with a brother who might be pushing away a woman who's just trying to protect him. And subscribe now, because in the next part, we'll expose another hidden sign she's secretly obsessed with you, and trust me, you won't believe No.2. This is not just about women. It's about becoming a man who can recognize depth, power, and loyalty. A man who can lead with strength, love with clarity, and never again confuse confrontation for rejection. She protects you because she loves you. Don't wait until she's gone to realize it. Sign number 4. The playful tease. Playful teasing, seemingly innocent, often overlooked, is in fact one of the most revealing and underestimated signs that a woman is truly interested in you, especially if you're a man who may not be accustomed to decoding these subtle emotional cues. It's not just a joke or passing banter. It's a test, an emotional litmus strip that reveals how grounded you are, how steady you remain under light pressure, and how capable you are of maintaining composure without taking things personally. It's easy to miss this signal if you haven't been taught to read it. Picture this. You make a comment you think is clever or funny, and instead of laughing, she smiles slyly and says, "Oh, really? You think you're funny now, huh?" Her voice filled with mock skepticism. Now, many men in that moment either stiffen up or over-explain, missing the fact that what just occurred wasn't an insult, but an opportunity. This is one of those hidden moments where she's essentially saying, "Show me who you are under the surface." Will you crumble? Will you take offense and retreat into self-consciousness? Or will you remain at ease, maybe throw a gentle quip back her way, or simply smile and keep your poise? That reaction, your ability to hold your ground without getting flustered, is far more attractive than any flashy pickup line or act of bravado. This kind of playful testing is especially prevalent in emotionally mature women who are not just seeking someone to entertain them for a moment, but someone with the inner strength to share the journey of life's ups and downs. The ancient Stoics, men who mastered the art of living with reason and resilience, would nod knowingly at this dynamic. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, said it best: "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, your inner world, your reaction to teasing, to discomfort, to emotional poking, is more important than what is said or done to you. When a woman teases you, she's not trying to humiliate you. She's trying to see if you can maintain control of your inner dialogue, if your confidence is genuine or just a fragile performance. That's where the true power lies. In a world where many men feel pressure to prove themselves through wealth, titles, or dominance, the ability to be calm, playful, and emotionally resilient stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Real attraction, the kind that leads to meaningful connection, begins where emotional security meets shared joy. So when she gently challenges your pride with a teasing remark, realize it's a kind of intimacy. It's her way of closing the emotional distance, of saying, "I'm safe enough with you to joke like this. Now show me that you're safe enough to laugh back." This isn't just psychological guesswork. It's human nature, confirmed by centuries of experience and wisdom. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So your reaction to her tease tells her everything she needs to know about the kind of man you are. Are you grounded, flexible, composed, or do you carry your ego like glass, shattering at the smallest touch? You see, a woman's playful teasing is often the beginning of emotional intimacy. If you treat it like mockery or criticism, you're closing the door on something that could evolve into deep connection. But if you meet her energy with light-hearted confidence, and maybe even a clever comeback, you're showing her that you're emotionally available, strong, and, importantly, fun. Because life is hard enough, and women, especially those who've lived enough to know what matters, aren't looking for men who take everything seriously. They're looking for men who can be serious when it matters and playful when it doesn't. In that way, the playful tease is actually a doorway. A woman who teases you with affection is offering you a glimpse into her personality, her sense of humour, her vulnerability, and most importantly, her interest. If you can't handle it, if you misread it, the moment passes and so might your chance. But if you can engage with warmth and wit, you'll not only connect with her, but earn her admiration. As Seneca once remarked, a gem can't be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Consider teasing the most delightful kind of friction, an invitation to refine your composure and show that you are not just confident, but emotionally intelligent. Real life gives us these small windows of truth all the time. Think back. How many times has a woman teased you and you didn't know what to do with it? Maybe you shrugged it off awkwardly or took it too personally and walked away, never realizing that she was trying to open the door to something more. Don't let those moments slip by anymore. Learn to see them for what they are, signs that she sees something in you worth exploring. And now, I ask you, have you ever been teased by a woman and missed the deeper meaning? Or maybe you responded in a way that now, looking back, you would change. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be the key that helps another man recognize the same signal in his own life. Remember, attraction is not just about looks or words, it's about emotional presence, and the playful tease is one of the most honest ways a woman says, "I'm interested. Show me that you're worth my time." So stay calm, stay confident, and next time, tease her right back with a smile that says, "You understand exactly what's going on." Sign number 5. The forced jealousy trap. Let's break down one of the most misunderstood elements of female psychology, a hidden trigger that has confused even the sharpest men for generations. This isn't just relationship fluff or dating guru talk. This is a full psychological breakdown rooted in ancient instinct and backed by behavioral science. What looks like disinterest on the surface is, in fact, one of the strongest signs of hidden attraction you'll ever witness. And here's the twist. It's designed by evolution itself. That's right. We're talking about deeply wired, automatic behaviors that predate spoken language, smartphones, and modern dating rules. So if you've ever been left wondering, why did she pull away just when things were going well? You're not crazy, you're just reading the signal wrong. And now you're going to learn how to decode it like a Stoic master. Here's what happens beneath the surface when a woman starts catching real feelings. Her brain, operating on millions of years of evolutionary coding, enters a kind of evaluation mode. It starts sending out tests to measure your value. These aren't conscious manipulations or games. They're instinctual behaviors designed to determine whether you're someone she should emotionally invest in. Think of it like the mind's version of checking under the hood before buying a sports car. The first test? Manufactured jealousy. Subtle, almost invisible, but deadly effective if you don't understand it. You're enjoying a nice back and forth, everything's flowing, and suddenly she mentions another woman or makes a pointed observation about someone you were just chatting with. Within seconds, she withdraws just slightly, crossed arms, shorter responses, maybe even a glance away. Most men? They read this as a shutdown, get flustered, and pull back. And that's exactly where they fail. What's really happening is her subconscious is screaming, Is he high value enough to ignore this distraction and stay grounded? Her instincts are pulling you into what I call the jealousy test, a crucible meant to reveal how you handle competition. It's not about the woman she mentioned, and it's not about the guy she just stood next to. It's about you, and how you react when the emotional waters start to stir. And if you overreact, if you get defensive, explain too much, or worse, show any trace of insecurity, you've just signaled that you're not emotionally secure enough to handle her. Game over. So what should you do? Here's the Stoic key. Respond with calm minimalism. A simple, "she's cool," is infinitely more attractive than a panicked reassurance. Why? Because it projects emotional self-control, the modern mark of a high-value man. From there, she'll move to the next level, the proximity play. Suddenly, she's standing closer to another guy while keeping one eye on you, or casually mentioning someone who asked her out. Her eyes will dart to you in under half a second. That's not coincidence. That's her radar waiting to pick up your emotional frequency. Do you flinch? Do you frown? Or do you smirk like you already know the game? This is the critical moment where most men either cave and chase or clamp down and get possessive. Both reactions are attraction killers. The true move? Amused indifference. A half smile, maybe even a playful, "he seems like a good guy." That alone communicates unshakable confidence. You're not competing because you don't have to. And guess what happens next? She re-engages, suddenly. She finds a reason to be near you again. Maybe it's a light touch on the arm, or a return to the exact conversation she walked away from. You pass the test. The cycle completes, and now her attraction spikes, neurologically. You see, her brain rewards this outcome chemically. When you pass these subtle tests, she produces more dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals tied to bonding and emotional highs. In other words, your calm confidence wires her to associate you with emotional safety and excitement. That's how attraction gets locked in. These patterns repeat everywhere. From the barista who name drops her boyfriend mid-flirt, to the co-worker who comments on your chats with the new hire, it's not a shutdown. It's a challenge, a subconscious signal, and it's your opportunity to show value without saying a word. Once you begin spotting this pattern, your entire perspective shifts. You stop chasing validation, and women start chasing you. This is Michael from Stoic Focus, and if this resonated with you, understand that we're just scratching the surface. There are 7 more powerful subconscious attraction triggers, and if you want to understand them, hit that subscribe button now. Because the men who master these principles don't rely on luck, they become the exception. They become the kind of man who walks into a room and immediately commands attention, not because he's loud or flashy, but because he understands the unspoken dance beneath every interaction. Now, here's your mission. First, hit that like button, not just for the algorithm, but because it sends a message. Every click tells the system, this is the type of insight more men need. And second, subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week I'm dropping something that'll change the way you think about first impressions forever. The 5-second attraction trigger. It's a psychological shortcut that makes a woman feel drawn to you before you even say a word. No gimmicks, just science. And I want you to be part of this movement. Comment below with one of 3 words. Mirroring. If you've noticed a woman mimicking your gestures before. Jealousy test. If you felt those weird withdrawal signals firsthand. Or decode, if you want more psychological signals broken down in future videos. Your comments create a living lab of real-life experiences that we can all learn from. And I may even break down your story on the next video. Lastly, share this with a friend. Not just to help the channel, though that's appreciated, but because every man deserves to understand how attraction really works. Think of how many heartbreaks could be avoided if more men saw these signs for what they are. Green lights disguised as puzzles. This is Michael from Stoic Focus, reminding you, attraction isn't magic, it's science. And now that you've unlocked 2 of the most powerful indicators, you're already ahead of 95% of men. But remember, this is only the beginning. Stay alert, stay aware, and most of all, stay stoic. The game has changed. Now it's time you start playing it like you were built to win. Comment below to lock in today's stoic reminder: I stay grounded under pressure. Swipe left. Sign number 6, the copycat effect. There's a secret code written into her body language, and if you can read it, you'll unlock her deepest feelings without her saying a single word. It's called the copycat effect. And it's not a theory, it's hardwired biology, rooted in the primal need for connection, attraction, and survival. This isn't some fluffy dating advice. This is evolutionary psychology. It's raw, it's real. And once you see it, you'll never unsee it. When a woman is deeply attracted to you, something powerful kicks in beneath the surface. Her conscious mind might be composed, cautious, even aloof. But her subconscious, that's where the truth leaks out. Without even realizing it, she begins mirroring you. Your posture, your tone, your rhythm, even your blinking. Yes, you're blinking. That's not an exaggeration. It's microalignment. It's an ancient instinct. Think about it. You lean in during conversation, and within seconds she leans in too. You cross your arms or adjust your watch, and moments later she fidgets with her bracelet or brushes her hair behind her ear. Coincidence? Number. It's an attraction in motion. Napoleon once said, "Men are moved by 2 levers only, fear and self-interest." Understand this. When a woman's body starts syncing with yours, it's not logic, it's desire. It's the survival instinct whispering, "This man makes me feel safe, aligned, connected." And once that switch flips, it's game over for her resistance. You want science? I'll give you science. A study out of the University of California revealed that couples experiencing intense romantic attraction showed up to 72% more mirroring than platonic pairs. Think about that. That's not a slight. That's statistical thunder. And the more attracted the woman, the faster the synchronization occurs. Speed reveals depth. Attraction isn't just seen, it's measured. So here's how you test it like a man who takes control. For the first 5 minutes of any interaction, be a quiet observer. Study her default movements, her tone, her breathing. Set a baseline, then shift. Change your posture at minute 5, cross your arms, lean back, adjust your angle. Then wait. 10 seconds is all you need. If she copies you, she's drawn to you, like a compass pulled north. Then between minutes 7 and 10, introduce subtle signals. Touch your face, stroke your chin, adjust your collar, and watch. If she echoes your micro gestures, especially with a delay of 30 to 60 seconds, that means she's trying not to fall, but her biology is betraying her. That delay is golden. It's the battle between her mind and her body. And guess who's winning? You are. But here's the real secret, the kind they don't teach in those weak, passive dating guides. Mirroring works both ways. You can reverse engineer her attraction by leading the dance. Start syncing with her breathing, her tone, her pace. Not as a puppet, as a conductor. Create a rhythm she wants to follow. When you lead with subtlety, with power, you override her filters. You bypass logic. You go straight to the emotional core. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." Mirror her physiology, and you dye her emotions with your presence. That's influence, that's mastery, that's stoic dominance in the modern world. Now here's the kicker. The body never lies. Words can, smiles can. Flirty jokes? Easily faked. But no woman, no matter how clever, can fake unconscious synchronization. Her body is either aligned with yours, or it's not. And once you learn to read this code, you'll walk into every room knowing exactly who's into you before a single word is spoken. This is your edge, your silent weapon. The battlefield may be love, but the strategy is stoic. Precision, observation, power, use it. So if you've ever wondered whether she's into you, stop overthinking. Stop second-guessing. Start watching. Watch her breath. Watch her blink. Watch her mirror your energy. Because the truth is in the timing. When you see it, claim it. Don't hesitate. Don't play coy. Confidence is not just attractive, it's magnetic. As Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. This is your preparation. Now seize the opportunity. Master the silent language. Speak with your presence. Command the room without raising your voice. And the next time she leans in after you do, you'll know. She's not just interested, she's already yours. Comment below if you have ever noticed a woman mirroring you and declare it loud, I read the signs. I lead the dance. Like this video if you value power, clarity, and truth in your connections. Subscribe for more old world wisdom, upgraded for modern warriors. Because this isn't just attraction, it's a strategy, it's psychology, it's victory. Sign number 7, the protective instinct. When a woman is genuinely crazy about you, one of the deepest, most primal ways it reveals itself is through her protective instinct. And no, this isn't just about guarding you from physical harm, but something much more nuanced, emotional, and surprisingly powerful. A woman who truly adores you will subtly begin to shield your emotional well-being, sometimes even more than her own. You'll notice she becomes deeply attuned to your moods, quick to defend you in conversations, even when you're not present, and deeply concerned about your stresses, your burdens, and even your silence. Like the ancient Stoic idea of sympathia, which teaches that we're all interconnected parts of a larger whole, she sees your struggles as her own and tries, sometimes quietly and without acknowledgement, to ease them. Consider this. If you've ever had a woman urge you to take care of your health, encourage you to chase after a long-forgotten dream, or shield you from unnecessary conflict, it wasn't just about being nice. Those were acts of love in action. As Epictetus said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. And her view of you is one where your peace becomes her priority. She may worry when you don't sleep enough, get visibly upset when others disrespect you, or even try to subtly guide you away from self-destructive habits without being preachy. This kind of protection is quiet, often invisible, but immensely telling. Many men, especially those who've been through the ringer in love, divorce, betrayal, or years of disconnection, tend to overlook or underestimate this behavior, dismissing it as nagging or over-involvement, when in reality, it's a whisper of deep emotional investment. In real life, think of the woman who gently reminds you of your doctor's appointment, the one who brings your coat when you've forgotten it, or the one who instinctively knows when to give you space and when to pull you in. Her efforts might not be flashy, but they are fiercely loyal, and in a world that often teaches men to go it alone, such devotion is gold. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts, and when her thoughts are consistently bent toward your well-being, that's no accident. It's a reflection of love at its most raw and honest. So if you're experiencing this, don't brush it off. Recognize it, honour it, return it. Because the woman who defends your peace, who protects your energy, who stands by you not only when you're strong, but especially when you're vulnerable, that woman isn't just interested. She's invested. She sees in you something worth guarding, and that's more meaningful than grand declarations or fleeting attraction. The best relationships aren't built on fireworks. They're built on the quiet, relentless acts of loyalty that accumulate over time. If you've ever had someone in your life show this kind of care, reflect on it now and consider what it meant. And if you're lucky enough to have that kind of woman today, let her know you see it. Let her know it matters. To love and be loved is to feel the sun from both sides, wrote David Viscott. And when she steps between you and life's cold winds, even if she never says the words, it's because you've become her sun. Don't take it for granted. Have you ever experienced this kind of protective love? Or maybe you've seen it in someone else's relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And chances are, someone else out there needs to hear it too. Sign number 8, the genuine interest in your past. There's a quiet, often overlooked signal that a woman is far more than casually interested. It's when she takes a genuine, unforced, almost tender curiosity in your past. Not just the polished parts you might share at a dinner party, but the winding, imperfect, deeply personal roads you've walked. When she listens to your stories, not just waiting for her turn to speak, but really listening. When she wants to know where you grew up, what your first heartbreak felt like, how your father's silence shaped your need to prove yourself, or why you always keep your wallet in your left back pocket. It's not about gathering trivia. It's about connecting to the roots of the man she sees in front of her. Stoic wisdom tells us that a man's past is not his prison, but his forge, where he was tempered by trials and sharpened by time. And when a woman, without agenda, chooses to step into that forge with you, asking questions, not to correct or criticize, but to understand, it reveals an emotional investment far deeper than attraction. It means she's not just falling for the version of you that life and experience have sculpted. She wants to know the raw marble you were carved from. She's not afraid of your former selves. In fact, she's fascinated by them, even if they're messy, uncertain, or marked by mistakes. A woman who is truly into you will find meaning in the fact that you once got fired from a job you thought would be your future, that you used to sneak out late at night just to feel free, or that you still think of your childhood dog when things get quiet. In a world moving at high speed, where so many relationships skip past the substance in favour of appearances, a woman who slows down to ask about your beginnings is someone who intuitively knows that real love must be built on real understanding. She may ask about your first car, not because it's impressive, but because it tells her what freedom looked like for you as a young man. She might ask what music you listened to in your 20s, or what your mother used to say to you when you felt unsure of yourself. And if you feel the urge to brush it off, to say, "Oh, it's nothing important," don't. That's your history. That's your inner terrain. That's the soil where trust grows. Many men past 35 have built lives filled with responsibility, maybe even wealth, recognition, or a family, but they carry inside them stories no one has ever asked to hear. Some of those stories may be heavy, filled with shame, regret, or quiet sadness. Others are triumphant but forgotten, buried under the routine of adulthood. And when someone takes the time to invite those memories to the surface with care and interest, that's not just romantic, it's deeply human. This kind of attention can be disarming, even startling, because many men aren't used to it. We live in a time when surface connection is easier than ever. Likes, emojis, short messages, all floating on the surface of our real selves. So when a woman dives deeper, when she wants the full narrative of who you are, when she honours the version of you that had no map, no clue, no armour, that's a signal that goes far beyond flirtation. She is, in her own way, trying to be a witness to your life, not just a participant in your present. This kind of connection is what the Stoics might describe as sympathia, the interconnectedness of souls, the recognition that we are shaped by forces beyond the moment, and that to understand someone fully, we must understand their journey. The stories of your past, your failures, your mentors, your youthful defiance, these are not just tales, they're blueprints. And when she starts reading them, not to critique, but to know you better, that's the real sign that she's invested. If you tell her about the time you broke your arm climbing a tree, and she asks which tree, what you were chasing, and who carried you home, that's not idle curiosity. That's love in its early attentive form. And maybe it doesn't look dramatic. Maybe it's just her remembering small things you said weeks ago, referencing them later, or bringing up a detail you forgot you even shared. These moments are gentle, but they are the emotional fingerprints of someone who's choosing to see you clearly. Too many men are conditioned to suppress their pasts, to lock the doors on chapters that felt weak or unremarkable. But when a woman shows genuine interest in those very places, she offers you something rare, the chance to be seen and accepted for the entirety of who you are. Not just the warrior, but the boy. Not just the man you became, but the man you were becoming. And in modern life, where attention is fractured and most people barely scratch the surface, a woman who cares enough to explore your depth is showing a kind of emotional bravery. She's choosing the long road, the meaningful one, the one that requires patience, reflection, and real presence. So if you're lucky enough to meet a woman like that, one who wants to know your scars, your stumbles, your quiet victories, don't retreat. Lean in. Because she's not just interested in who you are today. She wants to understand how you became this man. And that, gentlemen, is not just a hidden sign that she's crazy about you. It's one of the rarest and most valuable forms of connection you'll ever experience. She's not falling for your surface. She's falling into your story. Let's unlock a truth most men miss, the hidden signs that a woman is truly into you. This isn't about cheesy lines or playing games. It's about real psychology, subtle cues, and ancient wisdom that give you clarity where confusion once lived. You're not here by accident. Maybe a past experience left you guessing. Or maybe you're ready to finally understand attraction beyond the surface. As Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so we can listen twice as much as we speak." And when it comes to attraction, what you observe is far more powerful than what you say. You've already uncovered 2 key signals. That's a strong start. But there are more, like number 2, which will likely shock you because it's so familiar yet so misunderstood. Women communicate interest through subtle, almost invisible signs. A glance, a mirrored gesture, a pause that invites something deeper. These aren't tricks, they're truths backed by human behaviour. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And the thoughts you feed yourself here will shape how confidently you navigate attraction. So hit that like button. It tells the algorithm, this is content worth spreading. Then subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week I'll share the 5-second attraction trigger, a primal switch that sparks connection before you even speak. Lastly, drop a comment. Write mirroring if you've seen her copy your gestures, jealousy test if she's pulled away to test you, or decode if you want more of these signs explained. This isn't just a video, it's a community. Join the movement. Don't wonder if she likes you. No. Hey my friend, thanks for watching. Before you go, here's something simple but important. Share this video with just one buddy who needs it. Not just to support the channel, though I truly appreciate that, but because too many guys are still in the dark when it comes to understanding real attraction. One share could help a friend avoid confusion, heartache, or missed chances. Here's the truth. Attraction isn't guesswork, it's behaviour. And the copycat effect? That's not just some random tick, it's biology speaking louder than words. So start paying attention. Watch what she does, not just what she says. Keep it simple, stay grounded. Observe with calm confidence, and always remember, the body tells the truth long before the mouth does. Take care, keep leveling up, and I'll see you in the next one.